Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie Cards, and in this video I want to discuss Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani and which one is the better investment. This is a question that's going to be difficult to answer. I'm going to show you all the stats and decide who deserves the MVP, in my opinion, and on top of that, who you should be buying baseball cards of, if either of them. In this video, I'll break down their historical numbers and their numbers this season and why they're important and why they're impressive and why each player legitimately deserves a shot at the MVP award. All right, let's jump into it. The very first thing, let's look at WAR. WAR is wins above replacement. It just means that these players have added this many wins to their team's win column compared to a replacement player playing those positions. So Aaron Judge has added 8.4 wins for the Yankees, and this is an accumulative stat over their career. So if you have like 50, 60, 70, 80 WAR, that's over the course of the entire career of a player. Anything above a 6 is basically a superstar. Anything above a 7 is an MVP candidate. And so we see Aaron Judge has 8.4 WAR. This is baseball reference WAR, which is a little bit heavier on defense. This is Fangraphs WAR, which isn't actually scrutinized as much for defense. For that reason, Aaron Judge actually is around 9 WAR for Fangraphs WAR and 8.4 WAR for baseball reference WAR. Ohtani is 7.9 and 7.8 respectively. So let's dive into each player now and to decide which player deserves that MVP award. Let's look at Aaron Judge first. These are some stats that Aaron Judge has this year. I'm not going to dive too deep into his historical runs, but one thing I will say is I personally believe he deserved the MVP in 2017, even if we never found out the Astros cheated. His numbers were very, very good. He beat Jose Altuve basically everything but batting average and stolen bases, but I think he probably deserved it that year. So this could have been his second MVP that he potentially might win, but either way, this season is just completely different, even from that year. He's doing things right now that players dream about when they're kids. These are things that are so hard to do that we'll look back on this year in 10 years and say, that year was insane. That might be one of the best years of the 2020s. So let's look at it. This is what we're seeing. He has 109 runs, which is first in the league, 54 home runs, 117 RBI, 80 walks. On base, he has a 403 on base percentage, which leads the league. His slugging percentage is 682, and his OPS is 1.085, and his OPS plus, the big number I want to pay attention to in this video, is 204. This is an extremely good slash line. And I'll describe in just a few minutes why this OPS plus is so impressive, but he leads the league in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 offensive categories that are important offensive categories. So I just want to show these numbers and say, yes, he's having a good season. So let's look at players with a 200 OPS plus or better in a season since the year 2000. So what you're going to see is it's very uncommon. OPS plus means they're that percentage better than league average. So it takes the actual OPS for the league and plus ballpark factors and says how much better you are than league average. 100 is league average. A 130 OPS plus is really good. A 140 OPS plus is really, really good. And then so forth all the way up. So a 200 OPS plus means he's double the value of a league average player, which is insane. So let's look at this. There's only been 6 seasons since the year 2000 where players have had an OPS plus over 200. There's only 3 players that have actually achieved this feat, and those players are Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Juan Soto. Juan Soto might surprise you because that was in the COVID-shortened season in the year 2020, so you could even argue there's only 5 seasons over the course of a full year, 4 of which were Barry Bonds. So it just shows how hard this is to do. And Sammy Sosa had a little bit of help with some juice, which is nice. So I'm not saying Bonds didn't, but you get my point. Let's look at his spray chart and percentile rankings. First thing I want to show you is that he wasn't a very highly touted prospect. He was a top, 100 prospect quite a bit for the Yankees, and that's just because of the raw power he had and all of his tools, Baseball Reference, and all these other baseball publications where they liked him for that. But heading into the 2017 season, he was 63rd, 45th, and 90th. So he wasn't like a top 10 prospect. People weren't expecting him to set the world on fire like he did in 2017 and like he's doing now. His average exit velocity is literally the best in baseball. His max exit velocity is just probably behind O'Neal Cruz. Hard hit percentage is best in baseball. Expected slugging percentage, best in baseball. Expected batting average, best in baseball, or right behind the leaders in that. Barrel percentage, best in baseball. He's walking in the 96th percentile. He is swinging and missing quite a bit, but that's what you get when you swing this hard. He's not chasing very much. His sprint speed is average, which is awesome for a guy 6'7". His outfield defense is also really solid at the 75th percentile and outs above average, which is the StatCast metric. Doesn't get a great jump in the outfield, but overall we're seeing a lot of red, and a lot of red means a lot of good. And I want to show you a spray chart. First thing I want to say, look how far almost every single home run is here. These are deep. And most of these are home runs everywhere. You can get the argument that in Yankee Stadium, if you punched out to right field, you get a home run, which he has done a few times right here. But overall, these are all very deep home runs. So the 55, I'm recording this on Wednesday night. He just hit another home run today. So these say 54 on the slides, but 55 he has right now. It's extremely impressive. Let's look at his rookie cards now. This is a baseball card channel, even though sometimes it feels like a baseball analytics channel. We do like baseball cards here. Aaron Judge, he has a lot of rookie cards. That's one downfall of Aaron Judge as someone you want to collect, is his rookie cards don't quite make sense and he has a lot of them. In previous videos, I have this video called Rookie Card Rankings, where I will rank a player's 15 best rookie cards on this pyramid from worst to best. And the good thing about this is it gives you an idea of what card you should target and why. This is a prospect card. It's his first Bowman. I kind of count it as a rookie because some people view it as such and so forth. But either way, this is only 15 of probably his 40 or 50 sets he has. And you're missing some stats like Topps Heritage, which is a dual rookie with Tyler Austin and so forth. These are just the base cards. These are not the parallels. These are just the base cards of these specific sets. So you'll see he has a lot of rookies, a lot of which really aren't that important. You recognize the Sapphire, you recognize the first Bowman, you kind of recognize the Mojo, but not really. You recognize the Topps Chrome, you don't recognize the Bowman Chrome much, but you get my point. He only has a few rookie cards that people really consider iconic, you could say. And that probably should change. Aaron Judge, I understand he debuted at age 25. If we look, that's kind of the biggest knock against him. He debuted at age 24, but his first full season was age 25, which really hurts your Hall of Fame odds, which is actually still hurting his Hall of Fame odds because he's entering his 30s with only 35 WAR. But the point remains, I think he might be able to get there, especially if it continues this play he's doing right now and can stay healthy for 3 or 4 more years. So let's go back to his rookie cards and just discuss why his rookie cards are confusing. The first thing is the hobby landscape was different in 2017. I know that sounds crazy because that was only 5 years ago, but the hobby landscape was very much different than it is in 2022. A lot of people entered the hobby in 2019, 2020, and 2021, which is great. Welcome, glad you're back. But the point is that these people didn't really experience what Aaron Judge was for baseball cards. Aaron Judge is one of the top rookies across all sports in 2017. I believe that it was Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum's rookie year, and then I believe in football it may have been Patrick Mahomes. If not, he was the next year. But things got really hot because of Aaron Judge and baseball card collecting, and a lot of people who were in the hobby spent a lot of money chasing Aaron Judge rookie cards. But the landscape was still very much different, and because of that, a lot of people who are in the hobby now didn't really collect him back then, so we don't really remember his cards as much as we do, let's say, Juan Soto or Ronald Acuna Jr. or even Fernando Tatis Jr. and so forth. Judge has a lot of sets, which always hurts. This is common to a lot of different players who get held out until Series 1. They just have a lot of sets. Wander Franco is the newest example of that. A lot of sets just means a lot of the lower end sets, not like the Topps Chrome Sapphires, not like the Topps Chrome Refractors, just like the Topps Fires or the big league rookie cards. They just don't get much love, and that kind of puts an overall pressure downwards on all the rookie cards because there's just so many alternatives to focus on. Judge was not a top prospect, like we discussed. Because he wasn't a top prospect, in the sense not a top 10 pick, people weren't really speculating and prospecting Judge as they were of a Tatis. Tatis was being purchased, or even Julio Rodriguez. He was being purchased like crazy prior to the season in anticipation of a big year. Judge kind of just came out of nowhere, especially because his debut in 2016 wasn't super good in comparison to what he did. There's also no Bowman Chrome first logo. If we go back to his card right here, you'll see there's no Bowman Chrome first logo, which also makes his prospect cards a little bit more confusing as well for some people when they look for that logo. This is his first Bowman. Every single player in 2013 did not have one. All right, so that's Aaron Judge. Let's go to Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is having an amazing season. I probably will never, ever put a player's offensive and pitching stats all in the same slide and actually highlight points in both of them. He has about 8 WAR right behind Aaron Judge. I believe 8.4 B WAR, baseball reference WAR, and he was the MVP last year. And I would say his year this year is pretty close to the same. This year is not quite as good offensively. He has a 149 OPS plus versus a 157 OPS plus last year. He has less home runs, less RBI, but he's pitching significantly better in my personal opinion. He's 11-8 with a 2.58 ERA. He's leading the league in strikeouts per 9 innings, and he's just being a dominant pitcher. So far, he has 181 strikeouts. I bet you he does get to 200, which is a really big feat for modern baseball because players don't get all the innings needed to get this number nowadays as often. But if we look, he's just becoming one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. This is what we expected coming out of Japan, being a more dominant pitcher, and then hitting was kind of an afterthought. Last year, that was turned upside down with a pretty good pitching year, 3.18 ERA, fantastic, but this year, completely different. So Ohtani, he's doing things literally no one's ever done. You could say Babe Ruth, and that's true, but but Babe Ruth didn't really quite do it for full seasons like Ohtani is doing. He might not have the Hall of Fame WAR totals that you would expect, but I don't know if that really matters for Ohtani. I'm actually at the point now, if he does this for 3 or 4 more years, he actually will have probably another 30 WAR or so. Maybe if he did 4 more years, 30 more WAR. That puts him right around 50. If he does that, he doesn't need to have 60, 70, 80 WAR because what he's done is so different and so unique in the history of baseball that it will want to be highlighted in Cooperstown and across all major sports. So pretty amazing to see Ohtani doing what he's doing this year and last year in a vacuum. I want to just show his pitching and hitting stats again so you can focus more on these numbers. Here are his numbers. Very, very impressive. This is wild pitch, and because wild pitch isn't necessarily a good thing, he leads the league in that, but it is what it is. If he had a better backstop, maybe they could stop it more, who knows. But either way, he's having a great year offensively and defensively. It's very rare a pitcher can say he's hit more home runs than let up in a season. All right, percentile rankings for Ohtani. This is hitting, this is pitching, a lot of red. I'm not going to go too deep into all of them for time's sake, but this is all very, very impressive that he's this dominant on both sides of the ball. I want to highlight his sprint speed being in the 79th percentile, just because that is impressive for a player like Ohtani who can hit and pitch. So Jeff Passan posted this. He just wanted to highlight that Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani are both having great offensive years. You could say they're comparable. Mookie's having a better slugging season. If his actual slugging percentage, his OPS is top, I think, 5 or 10. Well, Ohtani's not top 5 or 10. But either way, he's comparable to a top offensive player. And Shane McClanahan is one of the best pitchers in the American League. And Ohtani is relatively comparable to Shane McClanahan. So what Jeff Passan's saying, he's like, he's Mookie Betts offensively and Shane McClanahan as a pitcher. They're both better than he is at those things, but he's close. And that's the crazy thing about Ohtani. Ohtani's rookie cards are even more confusing than Aaron Judge's rookie cards by a landslide. And we'll dive into that why. And that's also why you don't see a lot of the not so high-end Ohtani cards being super, super, super valuable. It's because no one knows what to do with them. That's not really focused on Ohtani cards. Here are his top 15 from the rookie card rankings video. This is technically his first Bowman. I believe it came out either in 2017 or 2018, right before all of his other rookie cards. But you're going to see that he has 2 as a flagship image here and a flagship image here. And that's what's confusing about Ohtani, and you also see that there's another image here of him hitting, and that's the problem. And let's take a look at it. He has 2 Bowman Chrome rookie autographs. You can't see it here, but he has a Bowman Chrome autograph of him hitting and a Bowman Chrome autograph of him pitching. The Bowman Chrome autograph of him pitching actually came out first, while the hitting came out later. He has a Series 2 and an update rookie card, so 2 flagship rookies, which is extremely confusing, a Topps Chrome update rookie, and a Topps Chrome rookie card. It doesn't make any sense. His update debut card, which is the rookie debut, not really the one you really go after, is him hitting, so people are drawn to that because it's more fun than pitching in their eyes. He has a 2 Real One autographs, so in Heritage, probably one of their top 3 autograph cards is in Heritage called the Real One autographs. They're all on card on the Heritage stock. Really great cards. He has one in the regular Heritage and one in high number, making it even more confusing, and his cards are easily in supply. 2018 was the year printing presses got hit hard. Because of Judge in 2017, 2018 was ramped up even higher, and there are so many Shohei Ohtani rookie cards out there that it's not funny. For the mid to low end. There's not as many high end, and we can discuss that later, but that's why Ohtani's rookie cards are extremely confusing. So here's a graph. This is how much Ohtani's gone up as a player. This is through Card Ladder. You can see he's gone up his index about 38% this year, while Aaron Judge has gone up about 72% this year. So Ohtani going up only 38% versus Aaron Judge's 72% isn't super surprising because Aaron Judge plays for the Yankees and he's on a historic home run chase, while Ohtani is kind of like, we're kind of used to him being so good offensively and as a pitcher. So we're kind of over it. I think it's kind of worn off of a lot of people, which it shouldn't because it's literally only happened one other time in the history of baseball this dominantly, and that was last year. But either way, Ohtani's up about 40%, Judge is up about 75%. So which player should you buy? Which player is going to win MVP? If I had to put money on it, if I was betting at Vegas right now, if I was submitting my vote, if I was voting for which player I would vote for, I would probably pick Aaron Judge. Only because he's leading in so many offensive categories. I believe he's going to break the AL home run record, which is the non-tainted record, if you want to think about steroids, of all-time players. He's had to break the AL home run record. It's also the all-time non-steroid user home run record if he can get to 62 home runs. And he's on pace. He's hitting a home run every single day the last 3 or 4 days, and he's just really good. So I think Aaron Judge is going to captivate New York. He's going to captivate the national media, and I think he'll win the MVP. Should I buy Aaron Judge rookie cards? Honestly, I have no idea how to approach Aaron Judge rookie cards because he's had injury history in the past. He's actually been really healthy the last few years, but he can resort to that again, just like we've seen in Giancarlo Stanton. He's a bigger guy. Stanton was on top of the world when he won his MVP, I believe in 2017, maybe 2018. But when he won his MVP in 2017, we'll say, his cards were very expensive, and we've seen them kind of drop because he's just been injury riddled. And you can say that argument about any single player. That's the risks of modern sports card investing. But for me, if he can do it another year, even if he leaves New York, his cards are going to tank. So if he signs with New York, I think there's a much better argument argument for paying a lot for his cards. But if he does leave New York, if he goes to the Mets, even if he stays in New York for the Mets, his cards are going to drop if he leaves the Yankees. So I would just say proceed with caution, especially because they're up 75% over the last year. Be careful, but Aaron Judge could be a great buy. I actually bought some at the beginning of the season, and I sold in like May because he was having such a good year, and I regret it because they've gone up even more. But overall, Aaron Judge, he could be a good buy. To go back to Ohtani, this is one that's even more confusing because Ohtani also has the injury factor. He had Tommy John surgery a few years back, but if he can do it just a few more years, what he's doing now, let's say 2 more years of 8 to 9 WAR baseball, pitching and hitting, his cards will always be valuable. If you look at Ichiro's numbers, they aren't that good in comparison to his peers. Yes, he has over 3,000 hits, but I mean, I believe his OPS is like in the 750s, so not really that great for Ichiro, but he was a slap hitter kind of basically, a little bit different. He played into his mid-40s, which is very different than modern baseball players. But because of this, Ichiro was the sensation from Japan, came over, I believe, at age 27, Ohtani's age this year, and still put up 60 WAR, age 27 and on. So, Ohtani does not need to have all the same Hall of Fame numbers as Mookie Betts or Mike Trout or Bryce Harper. He needs to have the right amount of numbers for Shohei Ohtani. And because of that, I think he's basically 35 to 45% there to the Hall of Fame, which sounds insane, but that is somebody you might want to consider buying. I'm probably not yet. I'm waiting 1 more year, especially because his cards are already pretty expensive, because if he has one bad down year, they'll drop. So overall, I'm guessing Aaron Judge is the MVP as of right now, unless Ohtani goes berserk. And on top of that, I probably would hold an Aaron Judge card till the offseason to see if he signs with the Yankees. And for Ohtani, I think there is potential, but waiting again is not a bad idea. So make sure you do your research. Don't buy because I say buy or don't buy. Trust your gut because your gut is smart. Do your own research into baseball numbers. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next video.